Sodius has been providing tools to open your doors requirements for many years, whether it's MD Access for Doors with its Java API, or our DXL editor that lets you debug your DXL scripts. Another option comes from our partner Tasktop, who provides a synchronization server to integrate Doors requirements with the rest of your environment, including Doors Next Generation. Let's discuss why Tasktop developed Sync in the first place. Global collaboration is unavoidable for today's engineering teams. Engineers in remote offices need to sync information from one office to another without importing or entering data manually. For example, a requirements engineer in Europe using IBM Doors needs to keep his requirements aligned with his US counterpart using IBM Doors Next Generation. Tasktop Sync, with its IBM Doors integration, can automatically match requirements across systems, teams, space, and time in order to ensure that everyone is looking at the latest information no matter which tool they use or where the changes happened. In addition to saving you time and money, lead architects can determine definitive truth and program managers can manage enterprise teams effectively. Sodius will demonstrate the power of Tasktop Sync to show you how your requirements are always up to date across Doors and Doors Next Generation. Tasktop Sync provides an administration console to specify and execute the artifact synchronization across repositories. This is the administration console, and as you can see here, I've chosen my two repositories, a Doors 9 and Doors Next Generation database. I'll start by editing the mapping rules between these repositories. Rational Requirements Composers is the old name for Doors Next Generation, so I'll select that. I then select the databases for both sources of information. For each source, we need to specify the initialization query. This is how the engine determines the initial set of objects to be synchronized. Sync provides some shortcuts to creating common types of queries for Doors 9 databases, by module, by view, and by modification time. Then we need to specify the changes query to tell Sync how to determine which objects have changed and need to be resynced. Now for the Doors 9 database, I'll specify which folder or project to look into and then select the formal module that contains the requirements. The proxy store fields are used to specify how the pointer that links the object should be stored. Either store it in the Doors database or let Sync store it internally. We need to specify the same values for our Doors Next Generation database. We'll set the basic queries. Sync offers some standard query types for Doors Next Generation: type-based searched, folder-based, collection-based, module-based, or scope-based searches. We'll then choose the project, the type, the context for where the requirement lives, the specific artifact or requirement type, and the format of the requirement. Once we specify the source datasets, Sync allows us to see the live results of what those queries return from the databases. We can select a few requirements to test. Let's look at the mapping that Sync will use between these repositories. We are going to log into the database so that Sync can read the schema and present the available fields for mapping. We specified a few mappings between fields in the two databases. The first one maps primary text in Doors Next Generation to object text in Doors 9. On the right side, you can see the details of the mapping. It is a bidirectional mapping, meaning changes in either database will cause the value of the other database to change. You see the caster field here, which actually does some complex mappings of field values. In this case, it formats the HTML values of the field to the expected format for the database. There are a lot of out-of-the-box mappings, and you can also dig in and write your own if you wish. And here's an example of another mapping. In this case, we'll read the object short text in Doors and put it in a summary field in Doors Next Generation. Now we'll start the synchronization process. You can see that Sync has run the queries to determine the objects that need to be synchronized and is showing the status of each of those records. Contact Sodius to speak with our integration experts about how Tasktop or our other IBM Doors add-ons can improve your workflow and productivity.